The Supreme Court just heard oral argument on whether votes must be cast and received on Election Day, or states may provide a few days grace period for mail-in ballots cast on or before Election Day to arrive. Now, I am certain, certain, the court will rule that no grace period exists, and that's a ruling that will disenfranchise millions of Democratic voters. Now, here's what's going on. The case involved a Mississippi lawsuit over whether states can count late arriving mail-in ballots. Seems simple enough, right? Mail-in balloting, of course, has been a target of President Trump. The court's ruling would affect voters in 14 states and D.C., all of whom have grace periods for mail-in ballots, provided, of course, they're postmarked by Election Day. Also impacted will be 15 additional states that provide grace periods for ballots from military and overseas voters. Now, proponents of grace periods argue that forcing states to change their practices just a few months before an election would cause confusion and disenfranchisement, especially in places that have had relaxed deadlines for years, like California, Texas, New York, and Illinois. And by the way, rural Alaska, with its vast distances and often unpredictable weather, it counts late arriving ballots too. But lawyers for the Republican and Libertarian parties, as well as the Trump administration, they're asking the justices to affirm an appellate ruling that struck down a Mississippi law allowing ballots to be counted if they arrive within 5 business days of the election, yet were postmarked by Election Day, arguing that mail-in balloting breeds fraud despite strong evidence to the contrary. Republicans argue that the key statute, Title II, U.S. Code Section 7, which sets Election Day for, quote, the Tuesday next after the first Monday in November, close quote, requires ballots to be cast and received by state officials. Democrats, for their part, argue the statute does not require both, and states are free to provide grace periods so long as the ballots were mailed on time. According to Republicans, the Supreme Court affirming the lower court's ruling would create a uniform deadline for voting, reduce post-election uncertainty, and avoid late ballots flipping results after Election Day. But according to Democrats, such an order would disenfranchise voters in urban areas, overseas and military voters, and voters in states with slower mail delivery. Listen, either way, the stakes here are huge, and because the court's ruling will likely precede the midterm elections, we'd all better buckle up.